I'm Wyatt, 25 years old, and I live life on my own terms. No college, no career tying me down, no plans stretching past next week. I scrape by with odd jobs, hang with friends, and barely cover rent for a creaky bed in a rundown boarding house in Tucson, Arizona. Some call it wasting time. I call it freedom. Youths for living, not chaining yourself to a desk. Last week, my buddy Caleb tipped me off about a quick gig. My aunt needs her fence painted, he said. She'll pay good money, better than slinging hash at that diner. Cash talks, and I was listening. I told him I was in. Didn't expect much, just some old lady in a crumbling house with a fence to match. Work's work, and I know my way around a paintbrush. The day was hot, the desert sun blazing down on quiet suburban streets, baking the asphalt. I walked to the address Caleb sent, passing neat lawns and houses I'd never afford. I didn't belong in this neighborhood, and I felt it in my bones. There she was, watering flowers on her porch. My jaw tightened. No way this was Caleb's aunt. Lila, mid-30s, stood tall in a white tank top and denim shorts, dark hair loosely tied back, moving with a grace that hit like a punch. She glanced up, her smile soft but warm, like it could unravel you if you stared too long. "You must be Wyatt," she said. "I'm Lila. Caleb said you'd help me out today." I froze, caught in her gaze, then snapped out of it. "Yeah, Wyatt. Nice to meet you." Her smile widened, knowing like she saw right through me. "Come on, I'll show you the paint and brushes." The fence was a long stretch of weathered wood around her backyard, begging for a fresh coat. "Take your time," she said. "I want it done right, not fast. I'll bring you lemonade later." I set to work, the rhythm of the brush steadying my pulse. The sun-burned, sweat-dripped paint flowed smooth on the warm boards. Now and then, I caught glimpses of Lila moving past big windows, phone to her ear, or reading on the porch, her presence pulling at me like a tide. An hour in, she brought a cold glass of lemonade. "You're doing great," she said, handing it over her fingers, brushing mine, a spark in the air. "Better than I expected." "Thanks," I said, gulping it down. "Gotta earn my keep, right?" We chatted easy light. She worked from home, some consulting gig, widowed. I didn't pry. The sun shifted, casting long shadows across the fence, and I sank into the work. Then I heard the screen door creak. Her footsteps came soft behind me. "You know," she said, voice low, teasing, but smooth like velvet with a knife's edge, "if I were your age, I'd invite you in." My brush stopped mid-stroke, heart slamming against my ribs. Did I hear that right? I turned slightly, meeting her eyes. Her face gave nothing away, just a sly half-smile daring me to react. I laughed, nervous, wiping sweat from my brow. "Yeah, that's so." She shrugged, eyes dancing with mischief. "But I'm not your age, so back to painting." She walked away, her silhouette burning into my mind. The heat wasn't just the sun anymore. I knew then this wasn't just another job. Morning came, sunlight slicing through my boarding house's cheap curtains. I lay staring at the ceiling, Lila's words looping in my head. "If I were your age, I'd invite you in." It wasn't just what she said it was, how she said it, playful, confident, like she knew exactly what it'd do to me. I shook it off, threw on an old tee, and headed back. Work was work. When I got there, Lila was outside watering plants in a flowy sundress and sandals, her movements effortless, like she belonged in the light. She waved as I approached. "Morning, Wyatt. Ready to tackle the rest of that fence morning?" "Yeah, let's get it done," I said, forcing a grin. I fell into the rhythm again, brush strokes steady under the climbing sun. The dry heat pressed down, but Lila brought a cold water bottle at noon. Thought you might need this, she said, her knowing look cutting through me. You're saving me? I joked, wiping my forehead. We kept our distance most of the day, but a current ran between us, electric, undeniable. Every glance from her porch, every time she passed by, I wondered how much was deliberate. By late afternoon, I was on the last stretch of fence, the work smooth, almost meditative. I didn't rush. Her place was calm, a quiet I didn't get at the boarding house or my usual gigs. I put the brush down, stepped back, admired the job. Not bad. I turned and there was Lila, leaning against the back door frame, arms crossed, that calm smile watching me. All done? She asked. Yeah, looks pretty good, right? She nodded, eyes appraising me, not just the fence. You did great, Wyatt. Better than I hoped? You've earned your pay and maybe a little extra. I raised an eyebrow. Extra. She tilted her head, a glint in her eye. Want to come in for a cold drink before you go? You've earned it. My gut told me to say no, walk back to my world, play it safe. But I wasn't built for safe. Sure, I said, casual. Why not? Her house was like I pictured, modern, cozy, soft colors and clean lines, sunlight spilling through wide windows. Old family photos lined a shelf, no recent ones. A faded wedding picture caught my eye, telling a story she hadn't shared. She handed me iced tea, motioned to the kitchen counter. The light hit her just right, warm, golden, dangerous. We talked about my odd jobs, my lack of direction, my love for the freedom of it. She listened, laughed, shook her head. You remind me of myself once, she said softly. Before I learned life's not just about chasing moments. Reckless, huh? I teased. She smirked, her eyes holding mine too long. Something like that. She pulled out a bottle of red wine. Stay for a glass. I hesitated, feeling the line we were towing. Her gaze was steady, inviting. I nodded. In the living room, the wine was smooth, the conversation smoother. She felt close, too close, the air thick with something unsaid. Night fell, and we sat on her couch, a little drunk, the tension between us a living thing. Lila set her glass down, turned to me. You're a good guy, Wyatt, she said. I don't do this often. Do what I asked, voice low. This, she whispered, leaning in, her lips brushing mine. I froze, then kissed her back, soft at first, then hungry. Her hand found my arm, mine her waist. The world faded, leaving just us tangled in a moment we couldn't stop. Time slipped away, the night unfolding naturally. No rush, no promises, just raw choice. I woke in her bed, morning light soft through parted curtains, coffee brewing somewhere. No regret, not a drop. I slid into my jeans and tea, followed the scent to the kitchen. Lila stood barefoot in leggings and an oversized sweater, stirring cream into her mug, her calm unshaken. Morning, I said, voice rough. She looked up, that knowing smile cutting deep. Morning. She handed me a mug and we leaned against the counter, sipping in silence. The weight of last night hung there, unspoken. I hope you don't think I make a habit of this, she said finally. I shook my head. I don't. She glanced out the window toward the fresh-painted fence. You're easy to talk to, Wyatt. That's rare for me. I didn't know what to say, so I nodded. We didn't define, it didn't need to. I left soon after, not because I wanted to, but because it felt right. Something had shifted, and we both knew it. Life snapped back to normal, or as normal as mine gets. Odd jobs, bar nights, the boarding house's chaos. But Lila lingered in my head, a ghost I couldn't shake. One night, over beers with Caleb on the boarding house porch, he noticed me zoning out. You good? He asked. I hesitated. Your Aunt Lila, what's her deal? He laughed, then got quiet. She's been through it, man. Husband died years back, a real controlling bastard. Messed her up for a while. She's better now but keeps people at arm's length. I listened, her distant smiles making sense now. Why you asking? Caleb said, squinting. Just curious, I lied. Her loneliness, her quiet strength, it clicked. She wasn't just alone, she'd been lonely too long. Next afternoon, my feet carried me back to her street. No plan, just instinct. I stood at her gate, heart pounding, debating. I didn't want to push her, didn't want her thinking I expected more. But I knocked. She opened the door in jeans and a simple blouse, hair loose, surprised, but not for long. Wyatt, hey, was in the area, I said, half true. Can go if you're busy. She stepped aside. Come in. We sat at her kitchen table, iced tea between us, the air heavier now. She talked about her life, her kids grown and gone, her marriage's scars. Her words came slow, like she was testing how much to give. I'm old Wyatt, she said, staring at her glass. But it's nice to have someone listen without judging. I smiled. I can do that. She reached across her hand on mine, warm, steady. For a moment, we just sat there, the silence saying more than words could. It wasn't about lust or chasing a thrill. It was two people bruised by life, finding something in each other. I stayed for dinner, cooking pasta and salad together, the kitchen alive with small, easy moments. It felt normal, the best kind of normal. I didn't stay the night. At the door, I hugged her, her hold lingering a second too long, warm, real. Walking back through Tucson's dark streets, I felt something new, a spark of anticipation, like tomorrow might matter. Days turned to weeks. I kept busy landscaping moving boxes for a guy at the boarding house, but Lila was a constant pull. Every phone buzz drew hope it was her. Most times it wasn't. By Friday, I'd had enough waiting. We weren't a couple, no labels, no promises, but I couldn't shake the feeling we weren't done. So I did something rare I planned. Scraped together cash for a small bouquet of wildflowers, simple, nothing fancy, but they felt right. My heart raced as I walked to her house, flowers in hand. At her gate, I hesitated, then knocked. She opened the door in soft leggings and a baggy sweatshirt, hair framing her shoulders. Her face shifted surprised delight, then something softer. Wyatt. Wow. I held out the flowers, awkward but real. Thought you could use these. She laughed, shaking her head. You're too much. But she took them, her eyes warming, and invited me in. Her house smelled of vanilla and fresh laundry, the flowers now in a small glass vase between us at the kitchen table. A long silence settled before she spoke. Didn't expect you back like this, she said. Didn't expect it myself, I admitted, but I wanted to see you talk. She leaned back, arms crossed, waiting. This probably doesn't make sense, I started. I'm not asking for anything big or complicated. I'm young, I know. You've been through more than I can imagine. But I like being around you, and I need to know where you stand. Her face softened, unreadable. She stared at the vase, then spoke. You're young, Wyatt, she said quietly. Too young for someone like me. My life's messy, kids who don't call a marriage that left scars. Her words hit hard, heavy with truth. You shouldn't have to carry someone else's baggage at 25. I nodded. You're right, but I'm not asking to carry anything. I just want to know what you want. Her smile was faint, eyes distant. What I want, she sighed. I want simple. No drama, no expectations, no wondering if you'll text or show up. I don't want to worry if I'm too old or if you'll wake up one day and see this as a mistake. I grinned. Real but easy, exactly, I can do that. We sat in silence, the weight lifting. She reached for her glass. You know this can't be serious, right? I nodded. I know, no expectations. You live your life, I live mine. We enjoy what we have when we have it. When it's done, we walk away no regrets. Deal, she said, her hand squeezing mine across the table. Good. I was worried you'd say something dumb like you want to date me. We laughed, the tension dissolving like smoke. I didn't stay that night. At the door, our hug was warm, saying what words couldn't. We both knew what we had wasn't normal, but it worked. Walking back through the cooling streets, I felt steady, free in a way I hadn't before. Weeks bled into months. My life stayed chaotic, odd jobs, cheap bars, the boarding house's hum, but Lila was a quiet anchor. No labels, no demands. She never asked where I was. I never wondered if she saw others. Some weeks I'd stop by twice, others we didn't talk. It never felt wrong. I'd fix a light bulb, a loose cabinet door, or move boxes from her garage. Other times we'd sit on her back porch, sipping wine or tea, talking about everything and nothing. She had a way of calming the storm inside me. I started craving the simplicity of us, no complications, just real. One Saturday I showed up after a landscaping job, covered in sweat and dirt, smelling of grass and gasoline. Lila opened the door in an oversized button-up and leggings, glasses perched on her nose. You look like you fought a lawnmower and lost, she teased. I grinned. Maybe I did. She stepped aside. Want a shower? I shook my head. Just stopping by to say hi. Got plans later. She nodded, understanding in her eyes. Fair enough. I'm not your girlfriend, remember? Her words stung, not because they hurt, but because they were true. I leaned against the counter as she poured water. Lila, I said, voice low. I'm thinking of moving soon. Found a cheap apartment across town. Still rough, but better than the boarding house. Her face didn't change, just a nod, a smile. Good. You deserve better than bunk beds. I hesitated. Means I won't be around here much. I figured, she said, her voice steady, no trace of sadness. This was never permanent, was it? I asked. No, she said softly. That's what makes it perfect. I stepped closer, kissed her forehead. Her eyes closed, a faint smile. Thanks, I whispered. For what? For giving me something good, no pressure. For letting me be me. She touched my cheek, her hand warm. And thank you for making me feel wanted again, even just for a moment. We stood there, two people filling each other's gaps, no need for labels. I stepped back. I should go. She nodded. I know. At the door, I turned. You'll be okay. She smiled. I've survived worse. I walked into the sunset, the street glowing gold. No sadness, no regret, just the freedom we'd promised. This wasn't a love story, not the kind they write about. No fights, no tears, no big ending. Just two people who crossed paths when they needed it, then moved on. Free, no strings, no regrets. And honestly, that's enough. I want to hear from you. If you stumbled into something like this, would you stay or walk away? Share below.